Hi, my name is Jordan Blomquist, and today I'll be presenting on the Parthenon from ancient Greece. In this presentation, I want to move past the ruinous columns that you see for this old, beautiful building. I want to focus on the design proportions and the decoration and how these embody the Greek ideals of beauty, harmony, and devotion. Uh, we will trace its history, study its innovations, and reflect on its enduring legacy. Our journey begins in mid-5th century BC. Um, when Athens emerged from the devastating Persian Wars. During this time, the city embarked on an ambitious rebuilding program. This lasts between 447 and 432 BC. The city erected a new temple that was dedicated to Athena, the patron goddess of Athens. This temple was not only a place of worship, it also served as a treasury for the Delian League and a public statement of Athenian wealth, civic pride, and democratic ideals. This project finished around 438 BC, and through sculptural decoration, and then it lasted as sculptural decoration for many years to follow. At first glance, the Pantheon may appear straightforward. If we go back a couple of slides, I won't let me. It's a rectangular building surrounded by columns. But when you look closer, it reveals a remarkable mastery of symmetry and proportion. The temple is planned as peripteral, with 8 columns on each short and 17 columns along each long side. A daring departure from the typical 6x13 arrangement that was popular. The inner chamber is centered within the plan, emphasizing axial balance. Their overall dimensions follow a 9x4 height to width ratio. It's pretty close to the golden ratio. And the same proportional system governs the center as well, and even the spacing kind of on the outside of the temple. The architects combined the sturdy Doric order with delicate Ionic elements, achieving a harmony that would influence architecture for millennia. If you have visited Washington, D.C., I did last year, I was able to see very many similarities, and that's why I decided to focus on this. The builders of the Parthenon understood that rigid geometry can appear imperfect to the human eye. To compensate, they introduced subtle optical refinements. The stylobate and entablature rise gently toward the center so that the long horizontal lines do not seem to sag. The columns swell slightly in the middle, a technique called entasis, to counteract the illusion that perfectly straight shafts narrow in their center. All the columns lean inward by a few inches, and the column corners are slightly thicker to avoid appearing weak against the sky. These refinements kind of make the temple more dynamic, almost breathing quality. The stones seem alive rather than just almost too perfect. Alright, talking about the sculptural decoration. The decoration was not an afterthought, but a very important process in this design of the Parthenon. Around the exterior ran a Doric frieze composed of 92 metopes alternating with triglyphs, each carving depicting battles between gods and giants. Some of the popular ones were battles between Greeks and Trojans, and then another one was the Lapiths and Centaurs. The outer wall of the cella was crowned by a continuous Ionic frieze, 160 meters long, carved in the low relief with the Pathanaic procession, the civic festival honoring Athena. Above the east and west porches, monumental pediments filled with triangular gables, with scenes of the birth of Athena and her contest or relationship with Poseidon. Inside there is a colossus statue of Athena. It is over 9 meters tall and was full of gold and ivory. And that statue presided over the cella. Together, these sculptures narrated mythological and civil history and transformed the temple into a stone like a dictionary or encyclopedia of the Athenian identity. Okay, with Greek ideals of beauty and proportion, the underlying element of the Parthenon is the Greek pursuit of beauty through proportion and harmony. These are sought with the Parthenon's 9:4 ratio. The slides charts compares the Parthenon's ratio with the golden ratio we see in other designs, and with the proportions of other temples. It shows how close the architects came to the mathematical perfection. And then moving to symmetry, the balanced repetition of columns and moldings generate a sense of order and calm, while the blend of Doric strength and Ionic elegance unite opposites. Through its measured design, the Parthenon captures the classic Greek belief that beauty, truth, and goodness are inseparable. Now moving on to kind of the inspiration or the reason, the most important reason why it was created, was the Parthenon was made for Athena. The building was oriented so that the rising sun illuminated the statue on her festival day. But the temple also served the living community. It safeguarded the tribute of Athens' allies and acted as a stage for public ritual. Greek temples defined civic identity. Each city in ancient Greece had similar things. Every citizen contributed to their construction and was a sense of pride for them. In combining religious function with political statement, the Parthenon illustrates that the divine and the democratic were intertwined in classic Athens. Now moving on to the legacy and influence. The impact on the Parthenon reaches far beyond its marble walls. Its principles of harmony, proportion, and optical refinement inspired the architects of ancient Rome, the Renaissance, and even architecture we see in the modern US, going back to Washington, D.C. Buildings such as the Parthenon, the US Supreme Court, and countless civic monuments echo its architectural designs. Artists and theorists and other designers have studied the Parthenon and understand how measured adjustments can elevate a structure from mere building to timeless art. Today, the Parthenon endures as a symbol of democratic values, artistic achievement, and cultural identity. It reminds us that architecture can both reflect and shape the aspirations of a society. And in closing, the Parthenon is more than an ancient ruin. It is a testament to how design, mathematics, and religion converge to express the highest ideals of civilization. We have seen how the symmetry, proportion, and optical refinement transform marble into a living form, how sculptural programs narrate myth and civic history, and how a temple for Athena reinforced Athens' identity as a cultural and democratic powerhouse. The enduring legacy of the Parthenon invites us to value harmony, balance, and beauty, the Greek ideals. And it helps us do this in our own environments and to recognize architecture's power to encapsulate shared values across millennia. Parthenon